So what do we have in common with Harry Potter and Nemo and Woody and Frodo and Odysseus, Dorothy or Luke Skywalker? Well, we're all heroes on a journey, and not just any journey, but one where meaning and purpose is forged through success and failure, growth and adventure. And just like every one of those beloved characters, our faith journey is driven by how we navigate and are transformed by our experiences along the way. And we love these characters and their stories because they shed light on our own quests and struggles, our rising up from hardship, and our deep life-changing learning along the way. And that's why we read and we watch and we adore, and some of us even revere them. But life is not a book or a movie, and we're not fictional characters. We're actual, real-life people of faith, seeking to live lives guided by a love and a presence that is larger than ourselves. And so maybe it's really more accurate to describe our journey as a pilgrimage. Now, a pilgrimage doesn't require us to travel to long, faraway, exotic places. We don't have to take a long walk. It doesn't even have to take a long time. Pilgrimage can happen in our backyards, our neighborhoods, even the grocery store. You don't need an elaborate plan, just an open heart to recognize the holy wherever you are, and to allow that encounter to shift the energy that you are bringing in to any moment, to any room, to any encounter, and to the way that you move through your days. And there's a pilgrim in each of us, that part of us that longs to have the sure and certain sense that come what may, we are guided, comforted, graced by, and present to the presence of God in this present moment. And we want to allow those moments to connect us with a larger love, with God's purpose in us, so that we can express that purpose, that love around us. That, in a nutshell, is what it means to live contemplatively. The first of West Side core values, which we've been traveling with for the last several weeks, exploring bit by bit. The whole thing reads, we seek to be fully present to life as it is, purposeful in our approach to living and grateful for our blessings. We are pilgrims on a journey, being transformed by our experience and moving with faith towards Christ's vision of health and wholeness for all. And this morning I'd like to look at that last little bit to explore what it means to be pilgrims on a journey, transformed by our experience and moving with faith toward Christ's vision of health and wholeness for all. Now, as you probably know, we list living contemplatively first because everything hinges on us seeing our faith not as transactional, as in, if I'm good, God will love me and bless me if I do the right thing, but as transformational, as in, anything can and will happen in this journey of life, but in Christ and with Christ, your faith, my faith, can be shaped and deepened in and through the things that happen to us, the things that we experience. And this is such a powerful reminder. I don't want us to ever forget. It's a reminder that what happens to you is not a reflection of the love that God has for you. God simply loves you all along the way. Belonging to love is our core. It is the homeland we read about in Hebrews, the goal that Paul talks to the Philippians about. No matter what happens to you, along life's journey. Belonging to love is not negotiable. As author Ruth Haley Barton writes, the process of transformation is not about becoming something that we are not. It is about discovering and becoming more deeply what we have always been, children of God who are growing into our God-given identity. Recently, Pastor Mark shared these wise words from spiritual author and poet Mark Nepo, which really clarifies for me, and I would like to share with you, what this pilgrimage, life pilgrimage, can look like. Nepo writes, "To journey without being changed is to be a nomad. To change without journeying is to be a chameleon. To journey and be transformed by the journey is to be a pilgrim." So let's just quickly look at each one of them, and I think this will all make more sense. To journey without being changed is to be a nomad. So look, we are free and we will wander. Free to kind of go about our life, doing our thing, having adventures, finding a thrill, having a sense of momentary purpose within our adventures here and there. But without a grounding, that goal or that homeland towards which we are oriented, I don't know, if we don't have that, we become kind of like a rover, kind of barely paying attention. We lose focus on life, and we experience people and places, but we don't fully appreciate them. We're easily on to the next thing and the next and the next and the next, and we're never grounded in the now, in what God is doing now. And this can cause us to miss the blessings that are all around us, even as we miss the lessons that our experience is teaching us. As in any endeavor, being unpresent can leave our spirit feeling distracted, disconnected, unmoored. To change without journeying is to be a chameleon. Feeling isolated and disconnected from the homeland, from the place of true belonging, from our core, we're prone to change ourselves just to try to fit in somewhere, in order to feel even momentarily like we belong to this group or that cause or this idea or that thing. To be a chameleon is actually to ignore your inner light and your purpose that you carry with you always from the moment of your tiny little birth, right from the beginning. Instead, we end up as a chameleon opting to people please or just avoid conflict and people altogether. Can you imagine how easy it would be in this chameleon-like state to lose your center and to lose sight of the God-given unique gifts that God has given to each one of us? Given to us so that we can offer them to the world? Finally, to journey and be transformed by the journey is to be a pilgrim, and this is our hope and the grounding of our faith, the goal or the purpose, as Paul calls it, that urges us to carry on in life, come what may. It is this contemplative stance that invites us to ask, will I become bitter from life's trials, unaware of life's joys, or will I become wiser and more faithfully mature in and through and because of the journey, come what may? Think about it. You know, we love those stories and those characters because they show us what it looks like to move through everything and to be redeemed by our experience, and gradually to realize that the seeds of faith and hope and love have been with us all along. Spoiler alert, every single one of those stories and movies, those characters end up discovering that what they journeyed across the world to discover was something they possessed all along. It's so interesting, though, because our ancestors of the faith remind us of the same thing. When the going gets rough, they confessed they were strangers and foreigners. I've never been here before. I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I will never survive. But then, another spoiler alert, there's always the turning point. If they had been thinking of what they had left behind, they would have wanted to return, and so would we. Of course we would have. But forgetting what lies behind and straining towards what lies ahead, they make it clear that they are seeking a homeland, a better way, a different way, a truer, larger purpose. Always, always. But there's something more to the story that we shouldn't forget. To our story. There's always a guide, isn't there? A Yoda, a Glenda, a Gandalf, a Dorian, Athena, a wise one who sees the larger picture and offers us wisdom to help us truly see that the journey we are on is a sacred pilgrimage filled with meaning and purpose. And it's never, ever about gritting and bearing it, but about letting go and falling into God, a larger love, or a force, or an energy that has been carrying us along all the way. That's what our ancestors of the faith also show us. And today, being Father's Day, it's apt to note that sometimes, though certainly not always, it is a father or a father figure who has lived in such a way that we observed what growth through adversity looked like. Or perhaps he was available with wise words or a nudge to recognize and live into that Christ light within us. Or perhaps his very presence showed us by its absence what God could do and be in and through us. To be pilgrims on the journey is to lean into a state of mind and spirit that transforms our everyday activities into moments of profound connection with God, with your deepest, truest self, with others, with the world around you. And when we experience those moments, friends, they work on us. Little by little, they kind of mold and gradually transform our own presence, our own energy, the thing that we bring into a room or to an interaction, and it forms us more readily into being channels of Christ's light and love, care and compassion wherever we go. That's the purpose. That's the purpose that Paul is talking about. So often I think we journey through our lives thinking we need to find our purpose, like our one thing, the thing that we will define ourselves by, the thing that we do. But the problem is that if it gets lost or we get lost or the thing is done or we retire or it is over or maybe it just shifts or ends in some way, we feel lost. The thing is, we're not looking for a purpose. We are the purpose. God has already placed that purpose in us. It lives with us. It is with us always. And we are called to bring it, to bring that purpose into any endeavor throughout our lives, at work, at Walgreens, with family, at school, with strangers, with people you serve, with people who serve you, people you know, people you don't know. It may be a deep connection, it may be a momentary kind of interaction, but those moments In those moments, you might be offering the only glimpse of God that that person has ever seen, or maybe ever needed. That's the goal. That's the homeland. And friends, this is a lifelong pilgrimage, a lifelong journey of faith. And we get to do it together. And through it all, the question I would leave you with, the question we can always ask as pilgrims of faith: what is love inviting? What is love inviting me to be or to do here, now? How can I bring purpose to the moment I am in? How can I align my values with the energy I'm bringing to any interaction or gathering? How can I bring Christ's light and love here, now, always? Amen.